Hello, how you doing? Today's another day, isn't it? Okay, what I've got going on here is I've got Buckin Billy's 371 that was sent to me before I got AFib there. It's been a while. And he's been a patient, but it's time to get it back. So let's go ahead and fix this. Okay, now what I did have was a set of broken cases on his saw. Right where the bar mount, some of you already remember, this whole area is busted right out. Classic for him. I came up with another set of cases, and these are good cases. I just took a few minutes and popped the crank in. Yeah, it spins perfect. I got the seals there in on both sides, and I'm ready to put this dirty old gas tank on, which I've been cleaning up pretty good, but it's the original gas tank for the 371, so I think we ought to use it, don't you? And okay, there's things about this build that it's a 371, the 372 is exactly the same saw, but it transfers to a lot of other saws, certain little moves that you make. And one of them, when you're putting your crank in, and you're going to make this mistake if you're doing up saws, make darn sure you got the end of the crank that the clutch goes on right where your bar goes on. Clutch has got to go with the bar, okay? You can put it in backwards, and I have done it several times, especially if I'm preoccupied and you're just running off muscle memory, and then, oh crap, I got to take it back apart. It's not a big deal, but it's something you got to do. Okay, and they, in this particular case, they make the nicest little tool, which I have set here somewhere, that draws these cranks in. If you work on a 372 and many other saws, it takes the same tool. Steel's different, but get yourself the proper tools to work, especially splitting cases. Get yourself a case clamp made for splitting these cases. Don't screw around. So what you're doing is you're heating your cases with a heat gun. 1500 watts, fine. I got a 1600, but it didn't make a difference. About 10 minutes of heating. It takes quite a while. That bearing's going to drop right in when you got it right. But I'm going to warn you what you need to do. And I did run into this. It's been a while since I put a crank in. When you're doing it all the time, it makes it a little easier, but I don't. Get yourself a socket that just nicely is inside the diameter of a bearing. So if you didn't feel that just bang and go all the way to the bottom, you didn't get it. You got seconds. Just give it a little tap. It'll finish going because it won't go most of the way without being able. You'll tap it the rest of the way in, but tap on the outside of the race, not the inside, okay? When we beat these out, you beat them on the inside because you don't care. It's bad anyway. Or at least needs changing. Okay, so that was one little tap. The next one that I do, I should show you right from start to finish so you can see what... It's really not a big deal to do this. So once you get them dropped in, what I do is I hit them cases with a blowgun. Okay? I don't want any more heat transfer into that bearing than necessary. I know I've seen people that would heat the inside of the race up right here in the center to get it to go over the crank and then drop the crank. Yeah, you can do that. I don't like putting that heat on that. You can change the dimensions of that inner race pretty easy if you do that. You get a little too hot. But you can do that. You can heat that inside a little bit, slide them on the crank, put one on, wait till it grabs a hold, put the other one on, wait till it grabs a hold, heat your case, drop your crank in. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you got the proper end of the crank going in for the clutch, which is the bar side. You get yourself in that habit, and you'll never go wrong. But I've done it. I've done it several times, over the last 35, 40 years. It's upsetting because that's right when things are going good. When things go too good, working on saws, stop, you miss something. So anyways, bottom ends together, it turns nice and free. Original 371 crank in this, and it was in beautiful shape. Remarkable. Okay. Now, something that I do is and I'll show you what it is. On this peg on the 372 and other saws like it, it gets a little rubber bushing. You just slide it over that, right? Now, it's a limiter. That rides in this hole, okay? Don't use the OEM. Use a 5/16 fuel line, okay? I like using one that's been on a vehicle or old tractor or something because it gets nice and hard, but it's just that tiny bit soft still. But a brand new piece is fine. What it is, that dimension of that is slightly bigger. And what that does is that moves up and down in that hole off of this little peg. Okay? That limits how much that saw is actually moving. It reduces it by about half. I find that quite important, okay? Operating the saw, once that's been put, that fuel line's been put on there instead of that original thin little piece of crap, you'll notice that saw feels firm. You already got excellent spring mounts. It's what you need to do, especially if you're running longer bars. And so all you do is you just slide that on this little nipple right here. Okay. That's sticking out just a little further than I like. You like that flush or just a little less than flush. But I'll tell you what, we're going to get away with it. Oh, I got it to go just that little bit. Okay, about like that. You see it's just nicely sticking out. But I like as much of that in there as possible. Okay, so that's a little trick. Now I'm going to tell you another little trick. Where this throttle cable goes in that little hole right there for your trigger, don't let that come out. Because if that comes out on you, you might as well take that freaking thing right back apart, because you're going to have to take that trigger apart. And I made a video quite a few years ago on how to do that. Just make sure always that's slid right in properly. And now the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm not going to do it on camera because I haven't done one of these in a while, but what you do is you kind of rock this thing and finagle and get your mounts. You got to get these mounts. Oh my God. It never happens. On camera, I can't do that. I can do it easy off camera. Can you believe that actually went in there like that? That's crazy. I wonder what I got wrong. Something's got to be wrong. It shouldn't go in like that. Okay, let me find my bolts. And in this case here, where I'm changing these cases, and even if you don't, I want you to go over every bolt hole and make sure they're serviceable. Everything. Because the worst thing is to build a really fine saw and then find out you can't put dogs on it. Or this, in the Huskies, this will be busted out right here. Or anywhere. Just don't do that. Okay, let me get my act together here because that actually went too easy. There's got to be something wrong. Okay, there is a special bolt after you get the take on. See, it's kind of a pin on this end, and then it's got threads. See that? Okay, where that goes, I'm going to put it in, and then I'm going to show you, because I don't want to lose what I already got. All right. This will sort of make sense as soon as I show it to you. About that tight. Okay, where that goes is right here is where your handles are. That goes right there. So it's outside of the cut surface. Right there is where that goes. That limits the other side. You got 2 points. That limits how much that moves on the other side there. Okay? And now we gotta put this spring mount here. You see that spring just barely hanging out? I gotta get it down into that hole right there, end of my finger. So let me get that done. Now I don't tighten these up until I'm actually all really prepared. I've seen these with this length bolt and one just a little shorter. I'm just going to go ahead and tighten it. I'm going to get lucky. I got lucky once. Let's see if I can get lucky twice. Okay. About that tight. Okay. The other bolt is right there. Just above the gas tank. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you being in the comments. I read all the comments. I don't answer all of them. I can't. But I try. And I see a lot of the names that's been here for a long time. Guys, this is running the truth. That's why I'm out here today. I got other things I should do. But it's like, my God, I've suffered enough. I actually want to come out here because I enjoy working out here. I love working on the saws. Okay, that's tightening up pretty darn good, isn't it? It's definitely going the right direction. We get all the rest of the stuff put on this. We're going to have a saw here sooner or later. But what I need now is I don't think I have my motorcycle engine assembly silicone out here. But there's a little piece that goes down in here. We got to put that on. Get the chain brake all together and stuff. I'm not going to get concerned with putting the cylinder on. I've got that ported already. But now I've got to go back because I don't remember where I was at and what I was doing. I got to put the degree wheel on, time this thing, see where we're at with numbers. And I'm sure I did it right, exactly like there was a reason I did what I did, and I know it. Same 371s run pretty darn good. They was a little hotter than the 372. It's because it's pre-emissions. And I don't alter them 371 ports very much as far as port timing. They were already pretty darn good. I might give it a little tweak, which I probably did. And just a little bit on the intake, maybe a couple degrees on the exhaust. But they were nice. The biggest thing I got right now is everything is so darn filthy. I mean, this flywheel, I don't think it's been cleaned since 1997. I ought to show you something cool. I want you to see this. There was a bunch of broken parts on this saw when I got it. So I rummaged around through my cache and I found things I needed. But I tell you, I've only got one of these. This is the early flywheel. See the slotted holes? This is the early one. So that's why I know about what year. This is a 97. I think serial number on it. That's something I got to do is change that data plate. I'm going to put the data plate from his original cases on this one because that's correct. That's ethical. That's a good thing to do. The thought was that got grease, oil, and sawdust out. But in reality, what it let was sawdust in. You debate that. You decide which one's right and which one's wrong. If it gets in there, it can't get out very easy. But in this way, it can go both ways. But seeing as how you got one that's in remarkable condition, see the edge of that? I'll show you. The edge of this, there's no rim there. It's absolutely flat. And that clutch is as good as it gets. So I'm expecting good things from this area here. The original bearing that's in that is really good. We're honestly, I'm going to take 3-4 days putting this together because savor the flavor, right? I can, inside a half a day if I wanted to, I could have this running today if I wanted. I'm not doing that. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. It's been a long time since I've worked on saws. And I'm just going to slowly putter at it. I had to come up with an air diverter. This one's serviceable. It's the right style for this saw. His was busted all to heck. I think right here, somewhere, I got his starter cover rebuilt already. I already did that. And I've been puttering at this a little bit here in the last week or so for prep works, what I've been doing. Okay, let me get on to the next phase here, and I'll be right back. Okay, I got some of the crud off that flywheel. These are a lightweight flywheel, guys, compared to 372. They're different, okay? They're narrower right here, okay? I don't have one off, but I got a saw behind me that you can see. And you can see that it's got a counterweight on this side, magnets on that side. And then there's nothing. Okay. These ones here has more fins, wider fins, and a full ring all the way around it. It still has the counterweight on one side, and opposite is your magnets, okay? These are a little heavier, these ones are, from the 372s. I don't think it was a design thing as far as is they had a better flywheel on a 372. It's not like that. We've never had 371s did not run hot. They were not known for that. But this is definitely a lighter flywheel. So, just like anything, they got the key built in. If you want to advance your timing, you do it right there on your key. Take a little bit off on the appropriate side, rotate it, tighten it up, bam, you got it. I don't. They already had great timing. In fact, sometimes I like to back them up about 3-4 degrees. And we'll know when we get there with this one what we want to do. The one thing I got to do is I got to get my package tray on. This fuel line, yeah, that's Tygon, Tyvex. Be careful buying it on eBay. You'll get Chinesium, and it ain't worth the crap. Go to a hobby shop where they have RC cars, where they run RC fuel. That stuff is dirt cheap, and you can get the right size for these saws. It's dirt cheap. It doesn't cost very much. Buy a bunch of it. That's what I do. That's where you're guaranteed you're going to get it. Don't buy it online because you won't get what you think you're going to get. And I use that primarily for fuel line, quite honestly. Now what I got to do is I got to find my nut for that flywheel. I don't have to put that flywheel on right now, but I would like to. I got 2 little bins right beside me that's got all the things that I want. Right there is one of them. This is my little diverter. This is what sends air off the flywheel to the by the carb. That's what makes that air ejection work. It just takes air off the flywheel. What's up around the carb works great. It's awesome. I love talking to you guys when I'm working. I'll sit here and talk to myself Barb will walk in. Who are you talking to? Nobody. You know you're getting old, right? Yeah, but I don't care. Yeah, I'm used to it. It's easier to put that on before you go too far with that flywheel. Let me blow some crud off of this. I broke the switch in my sonic cleaner. And I was uptown earlier today, and I meant to get another one. But number one, I probably wouldn't have found the switch that would work. I guess I could just bypass that and just, I don't leave it plugged in anyway. Just bypass that switch. That would work, wouldn't it? It's got a little teat on it. You got a little hole that you put that teat in. Okay? That's what you got to do. And then you can put it in and tighten it up. This is easier to put in when you get with the flywheel off, I gotta admit. I was trying to get in the yank. I gotta put the package tray in. To do that, I gotta get that cleaned up. I gotta put the coil in. We're just gonna set this in there because if I get that, I'd love to throw that in the sonic cleaner, clean it a little more. What's on there is stained. It's on there quite hard. Boy, this is gonna be nice. I'm really digging this. I really am. Let me see exactly how cruddy this is. I come out here with clean clothes. By the time I leave, you guys know the deal. Yeah, it'd be nicer if this was already clean. But it's not. Appreciate being in the comments, guys. Awful nice comments. You guys act pretty good, happy to see me. I'm happy to be here. I've said this before. I've got the best subscribers. You guys are awesome. I'd really, this next year, if I can, I'd like to get out some of the shows. I just haven't been able to. It was just too much. But it would be nice. Okay. I want to see where we're at here. Make sure everything's going to be hunky-dory. Okay. Okay, that's going to work just beautifully. Yes, it is. I'm pretty happy about that. But now I've been through this a time or two. Before you get too froggy, you want to get your coil. You want to get your coil in. Original coil for the saw. Yeah, it works. It's a good coil. I ought to show you guys how to test coils. Not some hokey, gee, I wonder. I'm going to show you how to test them. A bunch of you probably already know. Okay. So we know that goes there. And that coil is going to go right there. You kind of got to get that in first. What I need to do is find them 2 bolts. Let me dig them 2 bolts up real quick. I guess I ought to show you how that I set these coils about that thick. Uh, you can use anything thin cardboard. Like I like to use the top of a piston box, and all I do is just spin that around till the magnets come up. Before the magnet comes up, I slide that between the coil and the magnets, and what that does, that'll just kind of grabs a hold of that. That's what it does, and then I just tighten that up. And then all I do is just spin your cardboard out. Okay? And that's perfect. When you got that right, you'll know. I better, it looks a little strange to me. Wait till you have to wear glasses like I do. Yeah, I know. You probably do, don't you? And I got a little tiny... I need a pink flashlight instead of black. No, that looks pretty good. Maybe I better do that again. If you're ever questioning yourself, start over. Kind of slide my little piston box top. Let it grab a hold of them, give it a little push, a little tighten. It looked like one side was just a little closer than the other. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, it's right. It would have worked just fine the way it was, guys. It wouldn't have been an issue. But I wanted it spot on, just because. Okay, so we got our flywheel on. I don't have the nut on it yet because we're going to put a degree wheel on it. No reason to put that on. And now let's see. I got a little ground wire that's got to go right here. And it's got to come back over to that switch to complete that ground. And so let me find that. Okay, I got that little ground wire on. What it does, it goes from the switch, which is right here, and it just goes through this little slot right here to a screw. Okay, the one that was on his saw was actually broke. I found it and was off. I just robbed one off another old junk saw I got. I know, can you believe I got junk 372 still? But I got a few of them. That's what a lot of them logged with. And I'm still going through and building saws out of them. They ain't going to be the prettiest things, some of them, but they'll be good saws. Okay, now what I got to do, we've grounded the coil, or the switch. Now we got to go from the coil to the switch, okay? That's next. So what I got to do is get the shielded part goes on the coil. Through that same little hole, I got to get that spade connector right through that hole. And then I got to get it on the switch. It's a 2-pole switch. One's a ground, once the switch is shut off, it kills the power to the coil. That's all it does. Okay. So now what I got to do is put my diverter back on. I don't think this is one there it is. This is the one I've been targeting. So I got to get this on my little pins. I know I should get a little in a better position, but it's one of the things, we're just trying to get something done. Okay, so now this coil wire has got to run through a little slot right here, so I'm going to put this in. Get it locked in. It just snaps in, guys. I can get that flywheel in the right spot. I can sneak that bugger right in there. And in just a minute, I'll show you what it's supposed to look like if it's right. You can break this little diverter pretty easy if you're just not careful. But there we go. Look at that. It loves me. Okay, I got that. Okay. Now the next thing I got to do is get this wire on this coil. Right into this little slot. I'll show you in a minute what it's supposed to look like when you're done. Don't leave your slack by your coil. Push it up underneath into the saw. Okay? And there is a reason for that. Okay, there's your correct position. See, that coil wire goes right up through and out right here. And then the ground wire that kills the coil goes right through, and it has a little slot it goes into. Just push the excess back through the hole. Okay? And obviously the ground went to the switch. Okay. So we've got the flywheel side where the switch works, coils in, right gap. Flywheel's on. The air diverter is on. Air diverter, actually, got to tell you the truth, I got to loosen that up. I forgot all about that. You got to get that package tray in. You just loosen the screw if you do the same thing I just did and let that back off a little bit. Because this little hole to the package tray is what this part goes into, just like that. This is something I think what we're going to do. It's getting late enough that I better stop and finish this another day. I'm not going to make a video tomorrow, guys. I probably won't till Monday. I have to put a brake line on my 1 ton. It broke, and I need that truck. It's time to get some firewood. So away we go. People, thanks so much for being here, showing up. Thank you for the comments and the thumbs up. You guys are awesome. Goodbye.